Hi, I'm Naureen Singh. I'm a 24-year-old activist, student, and community organizer based in Denver, Colorado. My relationship with Sikhi has been very dynamic. I didn't really know that I was different until a couple of moments in my life. The first one that's very clear and vivid in my mind was on September 11, 2001. I was a first grader growing up in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is a very rural, at that time it was a pretty rural part of Colorado. And there wasn't much diversity in my class. And so I remember on 9/11, I was standing outside my elementary school and we were having some flag ceremony and everyone was really crying and upset and sad. And I remember thinking, like, this is weird. We never did this in school. And I came home and saw my parents terrified. They were watching and they were trying to contact my brother who was in the East Coast at that time and trying to make sure he was okay. And at that moment, it was really seared into my memory for a few reasons. I was so young, but that was really the first huge act of violence that I ever saw. And I didn't know that it would really dictate the rest of my life moving forwards. Growing up after 9/11 was pretty easy, actually, surprisingly for me. I didn't really have any issues, and then that all changed in the 7th grade. I was sitting in my science grade classroom and we just talked about evolution. And so I remember saying to my classmates, like, yeah, I totally believe in evolution. I have conversations with my dad about it and we believe in it. I didn't really know much about evolution. I just remember knowing that we believed in it. And then the next day at class, I got a note in my on my desk, and my friend someone I used to think of as a friend, he tried to forcefully convert me into Christianity. And I was terrified as a 7th grader, thinking, what is so wrong with me that everyone is telling me this is wrong and I shouldn't be this way? And as a little 7th grader in middle school, on top of all the hormonal angst, I was already so confused about my faith. I was so confused about my friends. I was so confused about life. That really took a toll on me. And so for a few years, I really tried to stay under the radar, try to blend in with my classmates, do school, do forensics, do speech and debate, and not attract too much attention. And as soon as I graduate high school, the shooting at Oak Creek happened, when a gunman walked into a Sikh temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and opened fire, making it at that time the largest mass shooting to take place in a house of worship. At that point, I was feeling really angry, because I remember at this point telling myself that my life had now been bookended by 2 tragedies, one being 9/11 when I was in 1st grade and now in 12th grade, Oak Creek. And I remember telling myself, like, something has to change. I can't sit on the sidelines anymore and wait for change to happen. I have to be part of that effort, whether it be engaging my classmates about Sikhism or doing whatever it means necessary in public office. Something had to change, and it should start with me. And so I think that really propelled me into the life I got into. I'm still fairly young and I have a lot of learning to do, but I think reflecting back on those moments and what it meant to me at the time, it's really led me to recognize that my life wouldn't be where it was if I didn't have those things that happened to me or around me or to my community, and that change can happen only if I'm willing to engage with it. When I had an internship in DC, I posted an anti-bullying Google Hangout that was specifically geared towards Sikhs, and one of the questions I got was, I'm too afraid to even go to school, so how can I expect to go out and tell people I'm a Sikh and expect for people to listen? And I remember I had that exact same issue when I was in 7th grade, because there was a point where I was even too ashamed to go to school and I felt humiliated and I felt like all my classmates were glaring at me. And an older Sikh uncle had to tell me, when we were younger, we didn't have these organizations. When we came here, it was really us versus the world. You are born right now in a very great day and age where there's so many Sikh organizations that are dedicated to helping you recognize your voice and then, being able to tell it. And I remember I had to think about that, and I said, yeah, that's so true. There's so many national Sikh organizations, but there's even so many local Sikh organizations that are dedicated with incredible people that are just meant to help uplift you as a person. Whether or not you choose to identify as a Sikh, I think it's important to recognize that we each have an incredible opportunity to make this world a better place. As cliche as that sounds and how overused as that is, we really have to just tap into those resources And so for any kids who are listening to this, I can promise you 100% that I will be here as a resource if you need that. Because it just takes one Sikh uncle, one Sikh didi, one Sikh auntie to really make the difference. And if I can play even a small role in that effort, that is something I'm more than willing to do.